If you're early game and you're a mixed hive but you're not making any honey, this video will fix that. In this video, I will be showing you everything you need to know about being a mixed hive, the hive composition, Beequips, mutations, all amulets, and more. First, we need to basically understand how a mixed hive works. Basically, as a mixed hive, your goal is to be able to collect all colors easily in order to complete quests faster, which means that you have to have these 4 token buffs at max stacks at all time. Those are the fundamental tokens of being a mixed hive. But other tokens that are important as well are baby love, melody, bombs, and marks. The hive will build around this. So now that we understand, let's start the guide. If you're at around 15 bees, you shouldn't really be using your royal jellies too much, but mainly you should focus on red and blue boost as max stacks of either gives 3 times pollen of that color, which is by far the best out of the fundamental tokens, since you won't have enough bees to keep up all the fundamental tokens at this stage. So for 15 bees, you should keep these bees and make sure to have a good enough uptime of both red and blue boost. Now for 25 bees is when you should take bees a bit more into account, but don't go crazy with jellies, since you will still need them for crafting. At this point, you should be trying to maintain all 4 fundamental tokens at all times when grinding. Same story for 35 bees, but at this point, you should start working on gifted types and legendary bees such as baby bee, music bee, and carpenter bees. This hive right here is the optimal and ideal mixed hive for 35 bees. But it isn't realistic to get these bees, as you will also get gifted bees, which you can't replace, and these legendaries are really hard to get. But this is just a basic understanding of how your hive should go. At 35 bees, you should get rid of every ungifted rare bees that produce the tokens we need and move on to epic and legendary replacements. For 45 bees, this right here is the optimal hive. Below this point are all the gifted bees you need. Above that are spam bees. This is how your hive should look like before using your star eggs. After using your star eggs, you can change a few useless bees, and this is how your hive should look like after, as this is the ideal 45 bee mixed hive. Now, let's talk about mutations. Generally, you shouldn't mutate the bees that you won't keep for when you stop being a mixed hive, but the order for mutating should be tabby bee to gummy bee, to festive bee, to buoyance to tadpoles to bear bee. So for tabby bee and gummy bee, you should mutate them with convert amount plus %, and for festive, you should convert amount plus number. For buoyance, you should give them any type of convert amount, and for tadpoles, you can give them convert amount since the cheapest, or bee movement speed, or bee ability rate. Other than that, you don't have to worry much about mutations. Just save bitter berries for when you go blue hive. Now, let's talk about Beequips. Some good Beequips you can get from the Dapper Bear shop are kazoo, whistle, candy ring, rose headband, and camphor lip balm. For Beesma's exclusive Beequips, the toy drum and toy horn are really good options as well. But generally, you shouldn't invest that much into Beequips. Using mediocre ones is just fine. Now it's time to finally move on to amulets. First, the Star Amulet. The best stats for a star amulet would be pollen, white pollen, instant conversion, blue pollen, and red pollen. Basically, just try and get the pollen buffs and instant conversion, as those are the most important, with crit chance and bee ability rate coming in next. Convert rate and pollen from bees are both pretty useless as a mixed hive compared to the other stats. Next is the Ant Amulet. For the Ant Amulet, the best stats are crit chance, crit power, and pollen. But a general order of priority would be critical chance over critical power over pollen over player speed over attack. Then for your 2 pollen color options, the best are blue pollen and red pollen. For your Stickbug Amulet, it's pretty hard to get above a silver amulet as a mixed hive, but the best stats are +1 red or blue bee attack, and the priority of pollen would be white pollen over blue pollen over red pollen, as the pollen buff is too small to be viable. And lastly, you are guaranteed one of these stats below. The best one would be bomb pollen by far. You want to be careful with how much moon amulets you buy, since the moon charms are important for crafting glitter, so I wouldn't spend too much on moon amulets. But here are the best stat combinations. First is honey per pollen and bond from treats. Second is instant conversion and bond from treats, and third is pollen and bond from treats. Basically, bond from treats is really important and you should always have it. Similar to the Stickbug Amulet, it's pretty hard to get above a silver Cog Amulet as a mixed hive. So the priority of the pollen stats are white pollen over blue pollen over red pollen, with blue and white being interchangeable depending on how much you macro. And between these, it's probably bubble pollen greater than flame pollen greater than bee gather pollen, and between instant conversions blue over red over white. Now for King Beetle, get +1 bee attack, over +1 blue bee attack, over +1 red bee attack, and for the field pollen, it doesn't really matter, but bamboo and starting area fields are fine. And for the shell amulet, don't do it, it's a waste of time. Bad stats anyway. Now let's talk about what to do after you get your SSA. You can become an early blue. I will link a full early blue guide in the description, but here are the general requirements. And this is a quick guide on quest priority. And this is the event bee buying and gifting order. That's really it for this guide. I hope it answered all your questions, and it was easy to understand. And if you have literally any questions about your progression, just comment it, and I will answer every single comment I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you. Bye.